Hi, I'm the Guitar Trooper, YouTube's favorite old guy. Listen to these 1968 number one Billboard Hot 100 hits.
I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide. Hey Jude, don't make it bad.
None of the preceding examples were like Jimmy Webb's epic composition entitled MacArthur Park, as recorded by actor Richard Harris. You know, I am frequently baffled by why some songs in the AM radio world of the 60s went to a number one, or even top 10 for that matter. They just didn't sound like something that would sell that well. This one had some pretty big things going against it. At some 7 minutes and 20 seconds long, with elaborate orchestral backgrounds, it was one of the longest songs to make it to AM radio play rotations. It was even longer than the Beatles' blockbuster later that year, Hey Jude, which was 7 minutes 12 seconds. And it faced pushback to release at that length. Add to that the fact that Richard Harris's singing voice quality could be called somewhat less than optimum, and he was singing some lyrics that were, well, let's say, abstract. The lyrics, of course, are poetic metaphors for a deeply personal love affair and breakup. Got it. Not that abstract lyrics were a rarity, but some people find the work of deciphering metaphors to be more distracting than interesting, which could hamper sales. Quote, "Spring was never waiting for us, girl. It ran one step ahead as we followed in the dance. Between the parted pages and were pressed in love's hot fevered iron like a striped pair of pants." Everybody got that? Pressed like pants with love's hot fevered iron? And then somehow we swing from pressing pants to green icing on a cake that was left out in the rain, and then experience the despair regarding the time necessary to bake that cake and the recipe being lost. Personally, I hate rain-soaked cake. Nevertheless, MacArthur Park was a smash hit, and one can't argue with success. The song had it in spades, and even though it never was one of my favorites, a lot of you liked it. So here's a brief history of the development of one of the longest singles of the 60s, MacArthur Park. MacArthur Park, released April 1968. Written by Jimmy Webb in 1967, MacArthur Park, a lyric containing symbolic allusions surrounding his romance and breakup with one Susie Horton, whom he met in 1965 when he was working at Motown Records, as she was part of a girl group called the Contessas, was written based upon a request from the association's producer Bones Howe for a classical-sounding cantata-like song containing different movements. The park is a real place in Los Angeles that was across the street from Susie's job at an Aetna insurance office, and it served as a place for the couple to meet during lunch breaks. Once completed, Webb was confident that it represented everything that Bones had requested and presented the piece through him to the association. But in the end, Bones felt that it was just too ambitious musically to be viable in the pop market and turned it down. Jimmy kept it around, though. He just wasn't sure how or when he would use it. It's the fall of 1967, East Los Angeles. Jimmy Webb is hired to play background piano at a fundraising party. Unbeknownst to Jimmy, one of the personalities at the party is actor Richard Harris, who had just finished starring and singing in the movie Camelot. Harris approaches Jimmy asking for his assistance in a recording project. Jimmy, not really taking the statement seriously, gives a polite nod and positive response, but mentally dismisses it. Not long after the party, though, Jimmy receives a telegram asking him to fly to London to help make a record as Richard Harris' debut into the pop music realm. Jimmy bundles up some compositions, including the rejected MacArthur Park, and catches the next flight that he can out of Los Angeles. Once he meets with Richard Harris, Jimmy begins running through the stack of compositions, playing each for Richard to evaluate, but none of them, until the last one, seems suited for Richard's style. That last song that Jimmy presents is MacArthur Park. December 21st, 1967, Hollywood, California. Sound Recorders Studio, 9 a.m. Leader and arranger Jimmy Webb has assembled session musicians for the initial recording of the first and second movements of MacArthur Park, including the vocal by Richard Harris for Dunhill Records. Harris insists upon singing the title as MacArthur's Park. The session runs from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. and then 2 p.m. until 6 p.m., which includes some overtime. The personnel are familiar faces: Hal Blaine, Alvin Casey, Mike Deasy, Larry Knechtel, Joe Osborne, and Tommy Tedesco. In addition to the contract musicians, Jimmy plays the harpsichord. The recording dates continue in 1967 for additional sections and orchestral overdubs on December 29th and 30th, and then into 1968 on January 6th. At a length of over 7 minutes, MacArthur Park is released by Dunhill Records in early April of 1968. In spite of the traditional handicap of exceeding 4 minutes, it enters the Billboard Hot 100 on May 8, 1968 at number 79 and soars to the number 2 slot on June 22nd, right under Herb Alpert's This Guy's in Love with You. It's not just a hit in the U.S. either. MacArthur Park is in the top 10 on 7 international charts, including the number 1 position in the Australia chart and the Canadian RPM top singles chart as well. So why would I include this elaborate top 10 hit on my least liked list? I think it's Richard Harris's voice. I never could warm up to it. Not on this song anyway.
Dark, all the sweet green icing flowing down.
Much like that of Bob Dylan, you can't describe his voice as one of professional quality, although certainly distinctive. He admitted that he never had voice lessons, but rather approached lyrics as an actor would approach a speech. So that explains why I prefer his performance in Camelot. Incidentally, getting back to Jimmy Webb, that same real-life breakup with Susie Horton that became the basis for MacArthur Park also became the catalyst for another Webb composition in 1967 that you may have heard of. It was Glenn Campbell's hit, By the Time I Get to Phoenix. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do me a favor and click on the like, thumbs up icon and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. You can also use comments to suggest video subject matter regarding pop music and pop music culture between the 1950s and the 1970s. A great thing that you can also do to support the channel and the Facebook page is just sharing the video with your friends. Just click on the arrow icon and pick the destination person and help us expand the audience. Speaking of supporting the channel, this would be a great time to subscribe on YouTube if you're not yet a subscriber, or if you're watching this on my companion Facebook page and not yet a follower, start following the Facebook page. It's easy and it's free, and it lets YouTube and Facebook know that you support the channel. Just click on the follow button on Facebook or subscribe on the YouTube channel main page, or click on the big purple icon that's going to appear at the end of this video, and be sure to select the top notification bell on the drop-down menu that appears so that you will be notified whenever I post new content for the public. If you would like the opportunity to see the content on YouTube a few days earlier when it is viewable only to channel members, you can upgrade that subscription and become one. Just click on the join icon and follow the instructions. It's not a free thing to upgrade a YouTube channel membership, but it's as dirt cheap as YouTube would let me make it. Thanks again for watching.